Garden of Eden found, how archaeologists discovered the true location after this find in Jerusalem. It has to do with the actual location of the tomb of Christ, the Holy Sepulchre, where the resurrection of Christ took place. Of course, every Christian Orthodox knows that that is exactly where Adam's tomb is, and our Lord Jesus Christ was buried exactly above it. The Garden of Eden's location may have finally been found, thanks to a discovery by an archaeologist in the Church of the Holy Sepulchre in Jerusalem. And this documentary claims this and explains this by Callum Hoare, Express UK. It has to do with a documentary on Netflix, and it stars Morgan Freeman. The Garden of Eden, also referred to as paradise, as we know, the biblical Garden of God described in the book of Genesis about the creation of man. The narrative surrounds apparent first man and woman, Adam and Eve, placed in the garden to guard the tree of life before being tempted by the serpent to eat of the forbidden fruit of the tree. A move that saw them both expelled. And they were expelled, from what my readings, from what I remember, they were expelled from Jerusalem, and they went out of Jerusalem. The archangel told them to leave, escorted them out. They exited by way of the valley of Kidron to the Mount of Olives. So that's where their location was. Many have long searched for this location based on clues given in the biblical text, but the age-long question may have finally been uncovered. The archaeologist was Jody Magnus, and she revealed during Morgan Freeman's documentary, The Story of God, how a discovery in a church in Jerusalem led her to believe she has now found the answer. The church is the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. It's in the old city of Jerusalem, and that is where the mother of King Constantine, the king that made the faith of Christianity to be openly practiced without being illegal. This was in about 325 AD. So his mother, St. Helen, went to the holy city to find the actual Holy Cross of Jesus Christ, and she was the one that found many other holy relics, and also the location of the holy tomb of Jesus Christ. They built a church there at that time, and this Holy Sepulchre has been there since then. So the Holy Church of the Holy Sepulchre in Jerusalem, located in the Old City, is believed to be the site where Jesus of Nazareth was crucified, later resurrected. The place known as Calvary or Golgotha. Dr. Magnus, the archaeologist, revealed how this was also the apparent burial place of Adam. And that shows with a crack. The crack goes all the way down to Adam's tomb. She said in 2017, the clue comes from underneath the rock of Golgotha, the rocky outcrop which Christians believe Jesus was sacrificed on. And if you ever visit Jerusalem, I have not personally, I wish I could. Hopefully God will grant it to me in the future. All this is included in this huge church of the Church of the Holy Sepulchre in Jerusalem. She says, below is a chapel of Adam, and there is a tradition which goes way back in Christianity which connects this spot to Adam, the first man. When Jesus was crucified on top of the rock above us, his blood flowed down through a crack in the rock. And Adam, the first man, lay buried underneath. But when Jesus' blood flowed onto him, he was resurrected. This idea contradicts the description given in the Bible. The book of Genesis clearly lists 4 rivers in associated with the garden: Pishon, Gihon, Shiddekel, and Phirat, suggesting this location was in southern Mesopotamia, now known as Iraq. Now the thing is that all those names have meanings. all those names of rivers have meanings. There could be many rivers that have those names with the same meaning. Now, Dr. Magnus detailed how this may actually support theory she has. She added, well, the version of the story that ended up in the book of Genesis seems to place the Garden of Eden somewhere in Mesopotamia, but I think Adam had a very special connection with Jerusalem. The Garden of Eden, or paradise, becomes conceptualized as a spot where the presence of God dwells. In early Judaism, the time of Jesus, the presence of God dwelled in the temple, and hence why Jerusalem was conceived as Eden at that time. Dr. Magnus asked if she believed the Garden of Eden is actually a metaphor for the beginning of life and is in fact wherever God's presence is, and she said, well, yes, of course. Adam was the first human, and in Hebrew the word Adam means man. Also, if you take off the A, you are left with dam, in Hebrew means blood. And if you add ach at the end, adamach means land. So this was the finding of the Bible. Shock, why this expert claims Jesus resurrected through Adam's body after this church was found. The archaeologist, as we said, studying the Church of the Holy Sepulchre of Jerusalem, believes she found proof that Jesus resurrected through the body of Adam, as claimed in the documentary. And according to the creation narrative, in the first 5 chapters of the book of Genesis, Adam is the first man created by God. In the second narrative, Adam is placed in the Garden of Eden alongside Eve, his companion, bone of his bone, flesh of his flesh, and told that they can eat freely of the garden except from a tree of the knowledge of good and evil. However, the serpent deceived the pair into eating the fruit from the forbidden tree, and then they are banished from the Garden of Eden by God, who curses them to a lifetime of hard labor, and that's when death also came into being. According to Christian tradition, the doctrine, the body of Adam was buried in the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, directly below Calvary, also known as Golgotha, the spot where Jesus was apparently crucified. And archaeologist Dr. Jody Magnus revealed during Morgan Freeman's documentary, The Story of God, that's the title of the documentary, how a discovery in the church's wall led her to believe a key theory had been missed by religious followers. Well, if you go there, obviously, you will be told what it is. Christian Orthodox knew this from the beginning, from 2,000 years ago. Unfortunately, many that are not Christian Orthodox don't realize this. They don't read into it. They don't know what is there, or underneath Golgotha, underneath the tomb of the resurrection of Jesus Christ. Now, she said in 2017, the clue comes from underneath the rock of Golgotha, the rocky outcrop which Christians believe Jesus was crucified in, and below the chapel of Adam. And this is the image that we have. That is the chapel of Adam. And it's it's a Christian Orthodox church. You can see that in the background is the window with showing the crack in the wall, the crack behind the wall. So as we know, there was a huge earthquake at the time of the crucifixion, and that's probably when that crack took place. So below the chapel of Adam, there is a tradition which goes way back, connecting this spot to Adam, the first man. When Jesus was crucified on top of the rock above us, his blood flowed down through a crack in the rock. And Adam, the first man, lay buried underneath, but when Jesus' blood flowed onto him, he was resurrected. According to the Bible, Jesus' resurrection is said to have been followed by a great earthquake across Jerusalem, which caused the crack in the stone. Jesus' blood is said to have brought the salvation of God to Adam for his sins, which allowed him to be reconciled back to the Father. It's said that this act allowed the relationship between God and man to be restored. And asked if she believed that Adam was actually a metaphor for life as a whole? Dr. Magnus responded, yes, of course. And again, she says Adam was the first human, and in Hebrew the word Adam means man. Also, if you take off the A, she said, you're left with dam. In Hebrew, that means blood. And if you add an ach, AH to the end, Adamach means land. This revelation, after Dr. Magnus also claimed Adam's burial, answers the mystery of where the Garden of Eden may be located. And she said during the same documentary, well, the version of the story that ended up in the book of Genesis seems to place the Garden of Eden somewhere in Mesopotamia, but I think Adam had a very special connection with Jerusalem. The Garden of Eden, or paradise, becomes conceptualized as a spot where the presence of God dwells. In early Judaism, in the time of Jesus, the presence of God dwelt in the temple, and hence why Jerusalem was conceived as Eden at that time. I'll leave links below for you for this on Express UK. If you'd like to join me on my Patreon account, you will hear content not covered by mainstream media. These riveting stories will be based on my research, and I will state my opinions and give my personal insight on diverse and controversial subjects and world events not covered by mainstream media, and not supported by YouTube guidelines. So whatever I have on my Patreon, most of those will not be on my YouTube channel. Please consider becoming a member today. More of the most significant and important videos will be on my Patreon channel. Your support helps me to continue my research and keeps this YouTube channel alive. And we depend on your support, your generous charity, because we help economically challenged families here in Athens, Greece, in Kapota, and we also help the young generation with university tuition and the community around our church. Thank you.